Sports fans, I've hooked up with DraftKings to offer a cool promotion for you today. You can be your own GM with a salary cap, draft your own players, and most importantly, be one of over 4,000 people to win money tonight. It's only $3 to enter, and first place wins $4,000. Here's my lineup. Go ahead, I dare you to beat it. You in? Before we dive into the destruction that Kawhi Leonard has been wreaking across the NBA the past 2 months, it's important to get a handle on what the Spurs as a team have done in that time. In mid-February, the Spurs lost 4 in a row to 4 very tough teams. The team was struggling to stay in the playoff race, and it seemed like everyone was either hurt or just getting back from injury. Tony Parker in particular looked slow and in pain, unable to finish easy shots at the rim. But starting on February 27th, something clicked. Playing against the lowly Kings, they inserted Thiago Splitter back into the starting lineup. This finally got their rotations back to normalcy, and they rarely looked back since. Only the loss to the Knicks in overtime was curious, and they put up big wins against the Bulls, Raptors, Hawks, Thunder, Grizzlies, Warriors, and Rockets. What Greg Popovich and the Spurs have been trying to do for 2 years is convince Kawhi Leonard to believe he's as good as he really is. As Tony Parker said last night, he is the rightful heir to the Spurs throne and needs to take that crown more forcefully into his hands and wedge it onto his head. Looking at these last 22 games, it's clear to see who the main catalyst has been for San Antonio. Just a quick peek at his per-game numbers and shooting percentages show you a dramatic rise in production. His points per game has the biggest increase, and his shooting has gone to white hot in the last 22 games. Most importantly, Kawhi's net rating has gone from 6.8 to an incredible 21.6. As a team in the last 22 games, the Spurs starting lineup has been crazy, insane good, with the best of both worlds on both sides of the ball. Swap Boris for Splitter in their next most common lineup, however, and they drop to a very ho-hum 7.5 net rating. Let's take a closer look at how Kawhi has been doing so much damage to his opponents. Kawhi has been extremely efficient in the pick and roll. They like to drag screen for him right away to get him aggressive early in the possession, where he's got a variety of finishes like this runner near the free throw line, or an extra long Euro step that throws the timing of the defender way off and enables him to score easily. Normally out of their motion, the Spurs will stagger screen Danny Green, but here, Duncan comes right out of the post to screen for Kawhi, where he can penetrate and get good separation in the mid-range. Of course, they also find him later in the shot clock after they've gotten side-to-side action, opening up lots of holes for him to attack both inside and out. When he can attack out of the corner with a full head of steam, it's hard to stop, and when he cuts from one side to the other before coming around to get the screen, he's almost impossible to contest effectively. In the last 22 games, Kawhi has averaged a full post-up per game more, and has been way more efficient as he prefers to attack from the left block. His best move is to face up, where he can use his quickness to drive middle for a variety of inside shots. His most common way to attack is from the spot up. He rarely attacks all the way to the hoop, instead driving to either side effectively for the pull-up jumper. He drives to his right a lot more, but is much more effective going to his left, which makes sense since he can get a natural turn and have his hip and elbow aligned with the hoop more easily. Equally valuable to the Spurs gameplay is Kawhi's defense. His exceptional quickness, long arms, and huge hands allow him to defend virtually every position, and players dread when they look up to see him as their defender. He can afford to give his man a little extra room, since that closeout is with a 7'3" wingspan. Aside from harassing the opponent into misses, he can also swipe the ball from the best of the best ball handlers, creating fast break opportunities and easy scores. He's ranked 5th in the league in defensive win shares, just behind teammate Tim Duncan, and he's number 1 in defensive rating. Let's look at how valuable he is to the Spurs lineups. While they remain in positive net rating when he goes to the bench, you can see that he juices their numbers on both sides of the ball significantly. Interestingly, the Spurs shoot more threes when he's on the bench, which makes sense since the most common lineups without Kawhi feature shooters like Manu, Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, and Danny Green. Had Kawhi not gotten injured this year and missed 18 games, there is no doubt he'd be in the MVP discussion, since no one is as effective as he is on both sides of the ball. And the Spurs are clearly transitioning to an offense more focused on Leonard with the ball, which means scoring 20 points and getting 5 assists would be easily obtainable for him next year. This is bad news for all other MVP hopefuls in the future, since this is the kind of impact we haven't seen from a player in a long time, and the Spurs are in good and huge hands.